Hi there. Thanks for joining me. My name is Deb Sherritt, and this is my podcast, What I Find Funny. I've dedicated this podcast to relaying personal experiences and anecdotes that have either made me laugh or questioned the gods. Funny can't be boiled down to just one thing. It's a complicated recipe that, when brought together under the precise circumstances, can result in a giggle, a guffaw, or a groan. My goal is to spend a few minutes with you, giving you a taste of what I find funny and seeing whether you agree. Or, at the very least, I've been a welcome distraction to your day. On this episode, I'm going to talk to you about chances. For instance, what are the chances you'll run out of gas before you reach your destination? What are the chances you'll run into the wrong person at the worst time while you're in a rush? What's funny about chances, you ask? Well, let me explain. Once again, like so many of my experiences, this too involves Honeybunch. You see, he's an extremely pragmatic man. He speaks the truth, and he doesn't over-embellish, unlike his wife. But I digress. My Honeybunch is a man of few words, but when he does speak, it's worth listening to. Unless he's driving, and then I just ignore him and go off into my own little world, but that's another podcast. No, my Honeybunch isn't swayed by much. He's got his feet firmly on terra firma and remains at an even keel, and it's been his observation that things that happen in life are destined to happen at a specific moment, and the chances of that happening are 100%. And this is how he's come to this conclusion. When he's driving along a stretch of highway and he sees another car off in the distance coming towards him, the chances of that car and his car passing at the precise spot where there's a landmark along the highway is 100%. If we're walking our dog and someone is driving towards us, the chances of it being their driveway where our dog decides to do his business as they're waiting to turn into their driveway is 100%. If we decide we're good with only one poop bag while we're out walking our dog, the chances of us needing two will be 100%. So you see how this works. Well, when he first posed this theory to me, I balked at it. Oh, please. I mean, I'm the dramatic one in the house. Find your own gig, I told him. But he insisted and wanted to prove it to me. He started pointing out to me how often these sorts of coincidences happen. When we were in the car, he'd make a prediction on the timing of something, and he'd be right, 100%. When we were walking the dog, he'd predict the outcome of something as we passed by it, and he'd be right, 100%. Well, sure, I always knew he was a thinky, brainy guy, and he thought about things in a much more scientific way than I did. So he was on to something. 100%. And if it wasn't proven to me before, well, it certainly was this last week. We recently rescued a dog through an adoption agency, and we'd been out walking him all around the neighborhood. But with the heat of the summer, our little man can't handle long walks, so we've broken them up into 20-minute short walks throughout the morning and the evening when the temperatures are cooler. So one night last week, we were up rather late enjoying the summer evening with a glass of wine and a good movie when our dog tells us he needs to go out. Now, he won't just walk around our backyard. He actually likes to move his little legs and walk around the block at the very least. He's also very nosy, so I knew we weren't going to be a short minute, and I thought, I should just bring my wine with me. I mean, seriously, we're on a dead-end street, generally quiet, and at that time of night, I figured most people would either be getting ready for or in bed. What's a bit of wine walked around a neighborhood? No harm, right? Well, I hesitated to reach for my glass, and Honeybunch saw me, and he encouraged me by saying, "It's only a little bit of wine. Besides, what are the chances of a cop being within the block?" I agreed. I poured the remainder of wine into a plastic wine cup, and off we went. And we'd just crossed our yard to walk onto the sidewalk and down our street, when who should pull up right beside us and jump out of his car but a police officer. Well, I suddenly became 16 again and began to panic. Honeybunch had my back. He just said softly, He can't see anything in the darkness. Just keep moving forward and act normal. Well, once we were well past the police car, I continued breathing, and then we burst out laughing. What are the chances, we asked together? 100%, and that's what I find funny. I should have known. Honeybunch has an excellent theory, and it's a good job he's so calm under pressure. Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe so you're notified of when new episodes are dropped. You can listen to What I Find Funny on Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and all other sites where podcasts are found. Although I'm not an Apple fan. I mean, I love apples, but more the Red Delicious kind rather than the iPhone kind, so you won't find me there. But I'll be here next week with another story, and I'll share it with you, and you be sure to share it with your friends and family. Also, be sure to find funny where you can, and take care.